What's up, everybody? Will Philly here, and today we're making a new video, and we're back with Tier Maker Part 2. Now, if you can see here, this is the list I made from Part 1. I gotta say, it's not the best. The video wasn't the best, but I promise to make improvements, and maybe in the future we'll go ahead and recreate this. But I'm gonna stick to where I have everything set, and if anyone wants to complain and fight about it, we could fight about it later down the line. Now, I set the bar really high for the first video, and I said if I get 1 like, I will make part 2. So this time we're gonna do this. If I get 5 likes, I'll make part 3. But anyways, let's go down to the list here. And this is what we got. We got Poppy's Playtime, Slender Man, Phasmophobia, Five Nights at Freddy, The Evil Within 2, SCP Foundation, Dying Light, and Dead Space. So that's what we're gonna be rating. All right, so first we have Poppy's Playtime. Now, this game, I hate this game. I'm not gonna lie. If it was up to me and I was being non-biased, I would put this right here in Garbo. But I'm gonna talk some pros about this game, right? It's kid friendly. It's a good game that got kids into the horror series, and we need to have an avenue for kids to get into the horror series. My problem with that is that it was a brand recognition, right? So they wanted to sell plushies, they wanted to sell toys. That's why you have Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Long Legs, and the toys are extremely recognizable for kids, right? It came out with good lures, Roblox went crazy with it, and it got, it was huge. My only issue is that the devs knew exactly what they were doing with making it episodic, and then the prices were increasing, making people wait for new episodes. I really dislike that, and I'm fine if you want to do that with these games. If you want to have a game that's like, hey, we want to sell plushies and toys, that's okay, you can do that. But the episodic nature of the game, I really dislike it. So I'm gonna rate this game at a okay. Like I could put it at flawed easily, but because the game has so many issues, I'm gonna leave it at okay, and I don't want to put it at Garbo because I don't think that's fair. So followed up after Poppy's Playtime, we have Slender. I have a lot of memories of Slender, I never played it when it first came out, so I should put it in never played, right? So I'm gonna put it here. But let's talk about Slender. Slender made some of the biggest YouTubers really popular. We're gonna have like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, I believe PewDiePie, all became big due to Amnesia and Slender Man. Maybe in the future I'll play Slendy, I don't know. He was really popular at the time when you had like Jack the Killer and all those creepypasta horror games, or creepypasta horror stories. That's where Slendy came out. So Slendy's great. If I was to rate him, I would probably put him in flawed or solid. When the game came out, it definitely did have its problems. I remember the frustration of watching Markiplier play it. And I was a big follower of creepypastas at the time. So it was, once you get used to it, you collect the 8 pages, you kind of just avoid Slendy, and then you just go on and that's it. You go on to the next mission, and then it just becomes weird after that. So I'm going to rate him for never played. But if I was to rate it, I'd definitely probably go C, flawed. Next, we have one game that I really enjoy, Phasmophobia. I would put Phasmophobia at a solid game. I think it has a lot of issues, and I'm going probably based off of my own heart here. It's really fun to play with friends, and it's scary with friends. Even when you're playing with friends, it's still scary. It can stop being scary if you allow it to stop being scary. Like if you get out of character, you're just like, oh, let's go find out the goals, whatever. We drop the stuff, and it can get like that. But Phasmo is one of those games where I can't even find friends to play with anymore because they're all too scared of it. And you could tell them I said that. But I'm always looking for friends to play Phasmo with. I love Phasmo. I hope the best for Phasmo in the future. I think it's going to keep growing. So I rated it at a B, solid. If you got another issue with that, go ahead. I think you could drop it down or move it up. Next is a game I think I'm going to get a lot of dislikes for, is Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's to me is extremely genre defining. And it's not the sense of like, do I think it's terrifying? No, it's just the brand recognition for FNAF has just continued to grow and it's just continues to be a fun game. I remember when FNAF dropped. That was another one I really watched Markiplier play often. FNAF right now, you know, with the toys. FNAF basically is what Poppy Playtime wished it could be, and it's at fault for making a lot of those like characteristics games so that way they could try to sell toys and merch. FNAF is the problem. It did cause that issue, but I don't blame it. They did it right. FNAF is a great series. The movies are great. The kids love it. It continues to get kids into video games and to horror, and that's a big that matters to me. You know, it is saturated. The gameplay is static, but it's still great. I think it did cause a genre defining for a lot of games. It made so many copies, so I gotta put it up here. That one, you know, you could probably move it down to A, but you cannot deny that FNAF had a huge impact on the gaming industry and the horror game community as a whole. Next, we're gonna talk about The Evil Within 2. Evil Within 2 is one of my favorite horror games. The monsters were great. The story is flawed, but you know, it didn't cause an oversaturated market. I believe it was a good counter to Resident Evil, which is oversaturated. It's not mainstream. I think if you played it today, I feel like people would enjoy it more. I feel like the longer time passes, the more appeal it has to people. Fans of Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Dead Space all love this. I feel like you all love this game. It does get a little weird at the end when you have the white stuff everywhere. It just becomes a bit funny. It's like the jizz scene everywhere. But I still really enjoy this game. I had a lot of scary moments. The enemies are spooky, so it does get a little bit too long. Sometimes it does stick around for a bit too long. But I'm gonna give it a solid. I think Evil Within 2 is a solid game, and I feel like it's definitely improved over the first one. Next, we got SCP Foundation. SCP Foundation isn't a game that I have played, but I know a lot of the lore of SCP Foundation. It's very scary. This game has every type of enemy from horror games that you could think of. Ones who are just immune to damage, one that you have to stare at, like the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who. This game is a game I would love to play in the future. If I get big enough for people, I would love to play this game as a stream. I think it would be fun, a really, really fun time. I have nothing but praise for this game. If I was to rate it, I'd probably put it in fantastic or a solid. Or you know what? You can argue to put it in genre defining. The amount of games that came out of SCP Foundation is just it's crazy, right? The stories, you know, there's a lot of YouTube channels who were able to blow up because of SCP Foundation, and I love the game. I think it's great. You can argue to put it up here, fantastic, or even solid. But any lower, it's just an insult. Next, we have Dying Light. Dying Light, the first game definitely is above the second game, which is crazy to say. The second game was more action, while this one had a bit of action, and it was also spooky, especially at night. I remember the first time playing this game and the lights go down and just being like, yo, what am I doing right now? You hear those things screaming, walking around, looking for you. And this game was just so fun. It had the co-op mode that you was able to play with your friends, and you got the enemy player playing as the night creature. Oh man, I just can't remember the name of them. But this game, I'm gonna put it at a fantastic. I think if I was to rate the second game, it might fall down here. Maybe in the future video we'll put it somewhere here between C and B. But Dying Light, other than the ending, Dying Light was really, really good. I believe it's fantastic. You could probably argue to move it down. It's definitely not genre defining, but it was a game that a lot of people looked forward to or look for in zombie apocalyptic world, and it delivered on that. Okay, next and last for today, we have Dead Space. Dead Space 1, you can even go with the remake or you can go with the original. Dead Space 1 was great. Dead Space was a game where it took jump scares and actually made it somewhat tangible, right? Like the jump scares weren't just there to scare you, they were actually something. Like the enemies, the way you had to fight enemies, everything was just like, oh, I have to actually think about my shots. I just can't shoot like in Resident Evil. I have to actually aim my shots for body parts. It took something that we were used to and really flipped it on itself, right? And it was in space, which was really cool for the time because it wasn't really anything like it. So I would put it at fantastic. You could argue to put it in genre defining. The only reason I don't move it up is it's just because, like, I don't know, EA kind of messed it up down the road. with the second one and the third one. The lore in Dead Space is really good. It drops some movies and I believe some short films. But yeah, if you never played Dead Space, I really recommend it if you're a horror fan, right? It's good. It's got good action. The lore is fantastic. Even just watch the lore online. You'll have a good time with that. Anyways, here's my tier list for part 2. If you want to argue about it, please, let's argue about it. Let's move some stuff around. But if this gets 5 likes, I would definitely enjoy doing a part 3. I tried to make this one shorter, less blabbering. Hopefully I did that for you. And yeah, let's make a part 3, excuse me, and maybe fix part 1 in the future. But anyways, I'm Willfully. And remember, if no one else loves you, I love you. And stay scared and stay smart. Have a great day. God bless. Peace out.